Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 10th day of February. We're 2 days away from the Super Bowl here. Do want to thank my friends here at Spitballing Podcast here. Let me make sure I got my man John's last name right. John Ristano. Thank you for having me on your program here about an hour ago. Good stuff there. And also, you know what? I want to thank everybody that's came on my program this weekend. Jeffrey Deskovic, great story had to tell. Go back and listen to Tuesday's program if you haven't got a chance. Really good story there by Jeffrey Deskovic. Keith Engel, TGI Sports on Wednesday. Jamie Pags, the Philly sports guy, on Thursday. And of course, now I've got Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez, who's always good on Fridays here. Makes my life a lot easier doing the program here. Going to talk about these NBA trades of Carlos. We're going to break this Super Bowl down, give a prediction and all that good stuff here. But first, stand by. Let me get this break out of the way, and we'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. I'll be back in a minute and 19 seconds. Hello, Sports Scope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there, for $5 a month, 17 cents a day. You can help support the program. You ask yourself, why Sports Scope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is Sports Scope, again, spelled the same way. Or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Then I'm live here on all links. Carlos, good to see you. Hey, let me read you this. I read this off of an NBA.com website here. Record-setting NBA trade deadline. 24 teams made 12 trades involving 49 players. It was a record. What is your thoughts on this crazy trade deadline, and particularly the big blockbuster of them all, Kevin Durant, being traded to Phoenix?
Yeah, well, first of all, good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. Rob, thank you for having me on.
Always, brother, always.
Let me just say I'm still kind of exhausted from what was going on. All these NBA teams dumping salaries.
Yeah.
Moving people left to right.
It is exhausting to keep up with all of it, man.
Or this mediocre NBA season, like half of these guys probably won't even be on the same team like this time next year. Like,
right.
So half of these moves don't even matter if you think about it. They're just teams just moving players around and just getting rid of contracts. And
right,
that to me,
Patrick Beverly's going to be bought out. Westbrook's going to be bought out.
Yeah, that's the most upsetting thing. Is like, and these moves that are made, like, did they really help any teams? I mean, the what you see now in the playoff run is still what you're going to get at the end of the day. Half of these teams didn't get that much better. I'm saying that as a pessimist because New York didn't get better, and on any of their teams. You got rid of contracts, but you didn't get anything back.
Josh Hart's not going to put you over the top.
Come on, man. I mean, I didn't even know who. I thought he was an actor. For all I knew, I looked at
right.
Wait a minute.
Baseball player, Pickles.
He's a basketball player too, and it's not the same
baseball player. I think that he played for the Cardinals named Josh Hart.
Yeah, a lot of Josh Harts out there, and I didn't realize, No, I'm just actually being facetious. No, but I mean, I'm the only one excited about Josh Hart was his former teammate. It was like Brunson, like
Jalen
tweeted like,
Brunson,
"Oh, look at
yeah.
that, my boy's coming over here," and I'm like, "Well, that's not going to help the Knicks." I mean, you just got somebody to play spades with. I mean, that's I don't know. Man.
Is that what the word on the street is?
I don't. You know what? I try to not to listen to what's on the street because, you know, we were going to get players back in the day. You know, Kobe Bryant was going to be a Knick. LeBron James was going to be a Knick. What's this guy's name? He was going to be a Knick. Everybody was going to be a Knick, and at the end of the day, nobody's a Knick, and now nobody's a Net, right? Now the Nets own the next three or four second round of the draft picks. So that's the word on the street.
I think the owner's looking at Danny Ainge and thinking maybe we should go that route. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's just tired of these diva free agent receiver or players, and it's just. I think he just threw his hands up, and I don't blame him. I really don't blame Mr. Ty.
It's not just him either. There's going to be a lockout soon.
Do you really believe that? Where have you hearing that from? I hope there is.
You don't see what's going on. Like if you give a guy a 5-year contract and you're only going to give him 2 years to play because you see that he's not worth what you're giving him to begin with, then that means that you're not getting a return on your investment. So yeah. So you're an owner and you're looking at this like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep just giving guys 3 years, 5 years contracts, you know, over $15 million and you're not worth $7 million. Because, you know, just because of growing rate out there and your agent says you're the next big thing and you got a shoe contract, I mean, you know, these guys got and it's not okay. I can't, and I'm not going to talk NBA players down because they are the most paid athletes right now in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And so as an NBA fan, I want to see when I pay a ticket, those guys on the court.
They may be the highest paid per game played. If you want to break that down, if that makes sense.
Right. And the average salary right now is a $900,000. $900,000. Rob, you and I can shoot threes, bro.
Right.
And play 30 games.
I think it may be more than that. You know,
like, come on, man.
I would actually.
I can't go out there and I'm not going to go out there on the limb and say not everybody's not making their pay. But when you got people spending $10,000, $15,000 here in New York for tickets for their whole family to see LeBron James at one of the last games,
it's total ludicrous. I wouldn't do it.
And you know, and I heard a story about that, like on Boomer and Geo. Like there was a guy out there for his son's birthday, bought four tickets.
Yeah,
for all his family and his son for his birthday because he wanted to see LeBron James, and LeBron James didn't even suit up.
How much were those tickets?
They were average. He spent $10,000, so you figure out the math.
I mean, I had to make sure you said that right. Good Lord.
Bro, I mean, like, I'm not going to be one to say, and I'm not complaining about prices and salaries and all that because, you know, I am a season ticket holder for one of these teams right now in New York, but
for the Mets,
you know, yeah, but I can't be a season ticket holder for all these teams. Like, you know, like I got to give
it. You wouldn't have a place to live.
Yeah, man. Like I just hang out at the stadium and just, you know, live in the tent with some of these guys that are down there right now. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
you know what? I said, we've talked about this for weeks. I really do think something like a lockout would be warranted. Less guaranteed contracts. You can have I say less. You can have a portion of it guaranteed. They need more restrictions on these contracts. Take your league back, man. I think it's better for the greater good and make these guys at least wait 2 to 3 years. I would prefer 3 out of college and have some kind of consistency there in the NBA.
Yes, but some of that stuff is not necessary. What I don't want to see is mediocrity. Right? I mean, if I'm
you don't think it's necessary to stop raising kids in the NBA?
Here's the thing, Robert. We're more interested right now in watching college basketball than watching NBA basketball, and that shouldn't be that way.
It really is. It really is here lately.
And I'd rather watch some blacktop basketball
in Kansas or somebody.
Yeah, I'd rather watch some blacktop basketball than watch college or NBA basketball. Like, and I don't have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, and I'm an enthusiast of sports, and I want to see competitiveness. And what I'm seeing right now is just a bunch of money just ticket items going up. merchandising up, all these games being bought by different networks, being in the billions of dollars. Everything, the tickets going up, and what we see,
the quality is going down.
Is going down, and we don't even get to see half of these guys when you pay for a ticket.
Yeah,
some might have a back problem, some might have a leg problem. That's cool. If you got injured, fine. But like, if my thing is, if it should be prorated, right? If the players who are getting such and such salaries aren't on the court, and that's what you paid a ticket for, then your ticket should go down. The price should go down, right?
Right.
You know,
right.
Like that. I would be okay with that. You know, but
that's an understandable rant. I do think with these movement though, I didn't really talk about this much the other day. I do think the playoffs will be much better, particularly in the West. The West will be pretty. Forget the playoffs, down the stretch. Think about Lakers got better, even though the Lakers are the Lakers right now. They got better. The Clippers got better. They had Mason Plumlee. Some of these add-ons that nobody really talked about. Mason Plumlee going to the Clippers. Jay Crowder going to Minnesota. Who's the other guy? Mike Michela going to Boston. Those are the three trades I like the best. Not these big blockbuster deals where these major superstars are going to new teams or players are getting bought out.
And I mentioned on somebody's podcast. I was like,
you do a lot of shows, huh?
No, I'm not on them. I was just like watching them, and I was like, I was texting like, man, you know what? If you're a New York fan for Knicks or the Nets, you might as well just become a fan of the Clippers of Sacramento, because you're not going to see any good basketball for the next 8 years, man. Like, I mean, you know, it's just ridiculous what's going on right now, and I mean, it so just happens that okay, fine, the Nets lose Durant, they lose Kyrie, they still have maybe 4 players on that team that are that can play, but can they play together, and will they be a 4 or 5 seed, 6
What's
seed?
your thoughts on the Phoenix side of that trade?
So I think that Phoenix is hurting because they're always hurting. They can't get once they finish a round, the round after that, which is whether the second or third round, they're down 2 or 3 players anyway. So now instead of being
down, so you're thinking like I'm thinking here that Chris Paul's 37, Kevin Durant is coming back from injury. He's 34. I don't know where guys like Skip Bayless are saying they're going to win the championship.
No, I mean they're the
6th seed. How are they going to catch everybody and stay healthy?
I wrote in somebody's podcast. I was like, they're more likely to end up in the ER than the championship. I mean, and I'm not taking.
That's why I bring you on, man. That's funny, man.
I'm not trying to make it seem like they don't have any value. They have lots of value. They have, but again, their value is not where it's not. It's not even on the paper. Their value is to be on the court. And when was the last time those guys were on the court in a deep playoff run and made it all the way through?
Yeah.
Last time Durant made it all the way through was with Golden State. And I don't think Chris Paul has ever been in a final since in the last 5 years, right?
Yeah. He's I don't know if he's ever been to the finals. You talk about maybe the Western Conference Finals.
No. I'm talking about a final. I'm talking about
He's never been in the finals.
Yeah, so never making it to April, and I'm not. And he's been good in a lot of these games, but I'm not dogging him like that. I'm just saying there's a reason why these guys want the rest. There's a reason why the contracts are they got in their contracts written in that you get 3 or 4 days off sometimes off of a road game. Road trip, but to what extent, Robert? Like you're giving these guys all these exceptions, and now
it's over the top.
Now you have mediocrity all over basketball, and it's not totally on the players and ownership. It's on everything. It's on the system.
Yeah,
the system is broken, man, and you got to fix it.
It's broken. They need a salary cap. They need a hard cap. And they got to get rid of these guaranteed contracts, and you got to keep these guys honest, man.
Look, Robert, they just finally got a development league actually organized and going. Right. But now they're only taking 1 or 2 players every, and then sometimes they'll bring them up and then they'll tell them to go back.
That's why I think they need to go back to the college thing and make it 2 years at least.
but that takes away from the development league growing. Like the development league should be there, and you should be able to pick up the best player who you got from the draft, who was in your second or third round, and bring him straight up. And the guy who was injured that you're replacing, or the guy who is just is playing dookie, but you got him on a contract, like a Cam Reddish or someone like that. It just okay, you deactivated. You're going to be a free agent right now. And then the guy who was in the D leagues, shoot him up and let him play.
Or you just can it and make it 2 years. Let these guys go to college and accept coaching. Darvin Ham got into it with Russell Westbrook the other day because Westbrook didn't want to come off the court. He didn't want to even come off the court. He's being subbed in. What kind of respect is that?
But Westbrook ain't been in college since like in the early.
Well, I think he did do a couple years at UCLA, but it's the whole culture of the NBA where there's no respect for anybody. That
has nothing to do with college. Look, there's a lot of kids in college right now who should be in the NBA, and then you can flip that and say a lot of them don't belong.
I think if they go to if they accept some kind of coaching and realize that everything can't be AAU where they're just kissing their rear ends, they have to accept some kind of coaching. See, if you take away the guaranteed contracts and put some power back in the coaches and the administration and the staffs there, then you can take back and say, hey, listen, guys, you have to respect what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to be disrespectful. We just want people to play in some kind of system here. You can't just coach yourselves. It don't work that way.
Yeah, but
that's Kyrie Irving. He tried that.
I mean, but again, Kyrie Irving, a lot of guys.
I'm just, Westbrook, guys that just coach.
A lot of those guys, even the coaches say, you know what, you have the ball in your hand and you think you could take the shot, right? A lot of coaches will let you go to that situation. It's all situational at the end of the day. But my thing is this: like if you're a skilled player, right, and you have ability and you have agility, like okay, we should see that in the basketball game. Not this whole I still haven't. I used to play good and now I don't play good or well. I'm not playing well. And then you have good or players that are going to be on the up in the development league or or sitting there in college because they won't get drafted because they're not old enough. Like, look, if you pay for a ticket, right? When let's compare this to another sport. If you go to soccer or baseball, okay, and you pay for a ticket, you pay for those guys on the field. You know who's going to be on the field, right?
Yeah.
In the NBA,
your beef is a low management.
You pay a ticket, and you're like, well, the guy is supposed to be on the court, but now he's got 10 days sabbatical for some reason, and and that's what I'm getting at. Like.
Yeah, and you know what? I forgot. Someone mentioned this. I think it was Colin Cowherd or one of the other Fox Sports shows. He says, Kyrie went on a sabbatical for 2 weeks. Nobody could find him. It's like last year, Jason McIntyre didn't what's the guy's name? Derrick Rose do the same thing?
No, but Derrick Rose got hurt.
Yeah, but he went missing or something.
Yeah, he didn't report to the team.
I mean, these guys have it's totally out of control. Remember when we went to school, man, and when you'd have a substitute teacher and everybody's throwing paper wads and stuff, and it's total chaos that day. We don't want her to teach. We want her to, just her to quiet us down and run the clock out. That's what it's like in the NBA in some of these spots now.
So the NBA
People says maybe the China situation may change the NBA in the near future.
No, look. Here's I was just thinking the other day.
It's like 15% of the revenue, by the way.
What would make me want to sit down and watch a basketball game or a basketball season?
Yeah.
And 82 games is too long. Why don't you just chop it up into 3 seasons? Like and make them all tournament style and make them all earn their way to get into any
I'm open for anything.
Like have a Western Division final where all the teams are trying to win the West. Have all the four regions where all the teams are in, and all the teams got to win. And whichever one wins 2 out of the 3, both, they'll have to play each other out for the Super Championship. And then have those teams play the All-Stars or the Olympic team in a FIBA championship. And then if not, have all those teams play, like in another league in the championship. Just mix it up, man. These guys they're getting way too much. And the NBA is like you said, we're all just going to sit here and watch a Western Division championship because that's the only the only teams that look like they're doing well and playing back. Okay, the East has a couple of teams, Boston and
Yeah. And I
Philly.
will say this. I mean, I know we're just freaking totally just pounding the NBA. We're like hitting the NBA logo with the hammer. Guys like Corey watches the pro. He's a big Boston guy. Andre's a big Boston guy. Those two series between Boston and I keep wanting to say Minnesota and Milwaukee last year that was really good basketball.
Really? You thought that was good basketball? I saw a young and fast team in Boston and a team that what's his name was trying to carry on his shoulders and he couldn't.
Okay, they were very Giannis dependent. Yes, that is true. What you're saying is true.
And they were talking about missing that one guy, and he's old and he's burned out anyways. He's cooked.
What's his name? Lopez? Lopez or
no,
Middleton?
Middleton is like, okay, you're missing him, but if you put him back in the mix, he wasn't going to give you more than maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Well, it was a knockdown, drag out, old school, late 80s, early 90s type of series. I thought the finals were good with Golden State and Boston.
Yeah, that was better. That was a little bit better, but the whole Boston and Milwaukee series, I
thought it was good. It went 7 games, man.
Yeah, but I was hurting for Giannis because Giannis was like looking around like, oh my God.
He didn't have help, but he kept them in the series.
He did, and I'm not saying that he didn't, and I'm not saying he's not a good basketball
player. But at least guys aren't loafing
that looked like terrible
games off is what I'm saying. They were playing hard.
Yeah, but that's terrible for the Bucks who invested so much money in like 4 players that they only got their money's worth out of 1.
Well, they got a championship, and that can't be taken away.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. That wasn't last year.
Yeah, but everybody thought that Phoenix would win that year. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Chris Paul did play in the finals that year. I'll stand corrected. Remember they beat the Suns.
Yeah.
But
Chris Paul came back from an injury.
Yeah, Paul's always hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I want him to win. That's what I was saying. Yes, I want Chris Paul to win. But if you look at his age and look at Durant, I just can't see him. They're a 6th seed right now. They got 23 games to go. They got to make this chemistry work and get a better seed and make a run and go through the Clippers, Denver. Who's the other one?
You know what I would do?
Dallas.
You know what I would do with those 23 games?
Yeah.
Have all 3 of them sit out 10 or 15 games. Go on to practice and play games with each other, play horse, and make sure that by the time they're in the playoffs that they
Well, the problem with that is you may slip out of you may in the playing game status, and you're really in an uphill battle.
Well, then your bench isn't deep enough to be in the playoffs.
That's my whole point.
Think about that.
Their bench is elsewhere.
And whose fault is that? That's on the Phoenix Suns.
Well, their owner, I was telling these guys on this other program today, John and Spitballs podcast, that the owner's 43 years old. The purchase goes through early on trade deadline day.
That's ridiculous.
And then 12 hours later, they get Kevin Durant. They make a trade the day before the trade deadline finale. This trade was made at midnight Central, 1:00 Eastern, man.
Yeah, Rob.
Can you believe that?
Rob, look, Rob and NBA fans, don't get me wrong and don't get my words twisted, right? I think these are great players, and they have been great players.
Yeah.
But now, and in the next few weeks, you're going to see they're just good players. Because if they don't have a bench that's deep enough to help them be superior when they are needed to, which is in the 4th quarter, the last 10 minutes, right? That's usually where it counts. Then what was the whole move? What was all the movement for? All they're doing right now is selling jerseys and merchandise and tickets. That's it.
Well, I do think Kyrie of Dallas will be interesting. I just don't think that it's going to be long-term success.
Come on. I mean, Luka and Kyrie.
Luka don't have any help, man. He had no help.
And Kyrie's going to help him?
He's going to help him offensively.
Kyrie going to help himself?
He always helps himself. Now.
They're gonna bash because they're both scorers. It's like having 2 Westbrooks on the team.
God!
The only difference is one is actually Westbrook and the other one's named Kyrie. Now you switch.
That would be interesting. Have them 2 on the team.
Now you switch the names over, and it's going to be Luka.
Yeah.
And Kyrie, and who's going to want the ball on isolation? Both of them.
Well, I think Kyrie knows this is Luka's world right now.
No, he don't. He don't. You understand the world that revolves around Kyrie. You know what I tell people?
Hey, wait a minute. James Harden played point guard, and Kyrie played off the ball with him.
How long did that last?
Well, they lasted for a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
that's all.
They're in doubt.
Somebody asked me earlier. I don't think Mark Cuban's going to sign Kyrie to long-term deal. This is all a big test fire.
This is for him to make sure he gets more ticket sales for if they make it to a playoff. Listen, and again, that's why I dislike what's going on right now. It's everybody's just doing this for the money and to.
No, you had a good point last week, man, when you said that people are working on their own individual. They're trying to get their own pockets filled, and nobody's looking out for their greater good. That's where the commissioner needs to step in and say, we have a problem here.
But he busy getting TV contracts. He don't care.
Right.
Man. That's
sucking up to China and all that.
I mean, I look, at the end of the day, as a fan in New York, I'm just gonna have to wait 4 to 8 years to see a good basketball team in Brooklyn or in Manhattan. So that's what it is. What it is, right? That's what happened.
Yeah, Pickle says Doncic has them. Pickle.
No, he doesn't. You know how look.
He's been playing with grown men since he's 14, man.
This is how mature Luka is. Got off a game in the playoffs and was like, you know what? I just need a beer and relax. My man, you know how much alcohol Kobe was drinking during the season? The only alcohol Kobe had was the alcohol pads that he put on his knees and his shoulders.
I was fixing to say, I don't remember him drinking.
No, he didn't. You know, and I'm not saying.
Oh, is Luka drinking during the season?
I'm saying all I'm saying is that it's up to your prerogative whether you drink or not. But it's already tough for you to be after those 82 games to be in the playoffs and thinking about drinking a beer, my man. Come on.
I wish he wouldn't have said that. He said that last year. I heard him say that.
Yeah, actually, I get you. I understand. I'm a man myself. I don't do any exercise and I need a beer. You know what I'm saying?
He shouldn't. He should not have. He's still growing up in certain stints, but Pickles is right. He does have a lot of maturity about him because he has been playing with grown men. Let me read you these standings real quick. Okay, so right now, as of today, Minnesota is the 8th seed at 30-28. The Pelicans are 29-27. Here's Phoenix. They're 30-27. Dallas is 30-26. They're the 4th seed. The Kings are 31-23. So mathematically, yeah, they can catch them. They can get to a 2 seed, perhaps a 3 seed. But here's the thing: those teams are good. You're going to have to go through those teams in this 26 games to get there. Yeah, but if you see things through Phoenix Suns sunglasses, you think, well, we're going to win all them games. And I'm thinking these are very young, hungry teams. They're going to knock you out. And plus, like you said, they just gave up their bench. Their bench is spread out all over the country. 3 players.
And here you go. Like I said this on your show. I texted it on your show. You didn't read it, but I said Sacramento is the one team that didn't make any moves, and they're one team that you got to be scared from because
especially in the regular season, they're really hungry. They're really hungry.
They're young, and a lot of them want to be on stars on another team. They're looking for contracts. So and I'd say about 3 or 4 of them are looking for contracts, and then the other ones are just want to be, just want to win.
Who's the lead guy on there? Is it still De'Aaron Fox
on Sacramento? There's a couple of guys. I mean, it's hard to say because they're it's Sacramento.
They're super young. They're not going to do nothing in the playoffs, but they will knock you out in the regular season.
They'll slap you in the face, though. They'll scare you a little bit.
No, they'll scare you.
Yeah.
But you know how it is in the playoffs. These young teams, they fall apart, man.
Not always. Sometimes it's the young teams that don't fall apart till the end because they're not deep enough or they haven't had experience. Like
Pickles watches a lot of late night basketball. He says they can run with anybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's right.
Pickles thinks it's 2002 with Page and all them guys. No, I'm kidding. I don't think.
No. Because in that time frame, the Sacramento Kings were the average age of 32 years old because they had Chris Webber, they had what's his name, the Divac. And they had
Divac was older, yes.
Yeah, and then they had the guy with the headband, Bobby. Was he older?
Is he older too?
who what was that
I
guy?
can see his face. I can't call his name.
Yeah, the headband guy.
Yeah.
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 Not white chocolate. The other one.
No, white chocolate was gone.
Yeah, they had Bibby, Mike Bibby.
Bibby was the point guard. White chocolate was Jason Williams.
Yeah.
And white chocolate, I think they moved off him. He wasn't a very good point guard.
Yeah, they put Bibby in instead. But Bibby had the white headband, remember?
Yeah, Bibby was a really good point. Bibby took the shots. I mean, it wasn't Chris Webber. Once he had his incident in Michigan, he ran away from the big shot. Bibby. But Peja Stojakovic, he was 20. He was ahead of his time. If that team played now, they would kind of be like the Warriors, you know?
That team didn't have.
They took a lot of threes for 2002.
Yeah,
that was a lot.
But it wasn't a fast team. It wasn't an athletic team. It was a run and gun, but they weren't fast. They just moved. You have to understand that those two Europeans can move without the ball better than any other players.
And he was older. Yeah, Body played with the '80s Lakers.
Yeah, man. So
Sacramento's the second highest scoring team in the league. Yeah, Corey.
Corey. See, Corey, we're all on the same page with Sacramento.
They're hungry, but guys, you guys know how these young teams are. They fold in these big games.
I'm gonna tell you.
Look at Chicago. Remember, the Chicago had the best record in the league at one point last year.
Yeah,
they got totally demolished in the playoffs.
Yeah, but they lack defensive skills, man. Look, here's the thing, and Corey, you're right, and I feel like right now Sacramento is compared to the Memphis of last year. So, they'll have one or two guys go out and then they'll have
maybe Memphis a couple years ago when they were really young.
No, I mean last year they take the Warriors.
Well, they won a round last year, but a couple years ago they did. I don't think they won a round. They won a few games.
I think
Sabonis, and you know what? I think his dad Pickles.
Yeah,
his dad played for Portland back in 2000. Yeah. Time flies when we're having fun.
Man, people used to call him Bonehead. I was like, that dude's one of the best centers.
He's huge. He's a really good passer. Yeah. I mean, so those are storylines that's good for. I forgot about Sacramento. So what's Phoenix going to do with Sacramento? What's Phoenix going to do with the Clippers?
He's just going to watch those kids go back. Listen, I'm not saying that
that's true. Memphis is hungry.
I'm not saying that Durant can't play. Durant will be able to play. Chris Paul will be able to play. All these guys who came in, Booker, he's a player, but
Booker would have to carry this team.
That speed is not everybody has speed, and when you have speed and you have hunger, that changes everything. And the way the game is played today, because there's less slowing down the game today than there used to be back when we watched it, and they run.
Yeah, the pace is way up.
They run the flex.
Scoring's way up.
Yeah. So, that's the only reason I say that. Basketball is always going to be changing because the players change and coaching styles change. But, which is why Tibbs needs to be fired. Fire Tibbs. You got
to get one of those in every program.
But
by the way, fire Tibbs. Okay. I got that rolled down.
I mean, so it's going to be great.
Pickles, I think Pickles is buying into this thing. I know Ayton and Booker, those are your young players there, but I hear this, what was that guy's name? The one that ended up going to the Nets. Well, he was their defensive stopper, man.
Dinwiddie?
No, the other guy, the guy that the Phoenix got from the Phoenix sent to the Nets. Thomas or whatever. Either way.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's their bench, that's their youth. Like I said, I would love to see Chris Paul win a ring.
No, it's not.
Bridges, Nash Bridges. Thank you.
Bridges, yeah.
Malik Bridges. Nash Bridges was a show on CBS years ago. Malik Bridges. Thank you, Pickles.
Isn't that Don Johnson?
I don't know what I'd be without you and Corey there. Yeah, I mean, the games are going to be interesting in the playoffs. They're going to be. I do like Milwaukee's a lot better now. Middleton's healthy. Milwaukee's on a little bit of a tear.
People always talk about Middleton. Middleton is old. He's burnt. He's cooked. He's done. You got Giannis.
Well, he's not 37.
He's not. He ain't no fresh. He ain't no fresh chicken either. Come on, man.
Man, let me look up Chris Middleton.
Like 20. He's like 32 or 33 or something.
Nah, you crazy talk, man. He's probably like 28.
He's in his 30s, man.
He's 31.
I just said
Then
that.
you act like Chris Paul's 37.
But you know how much Middleton tried to carry the Bucks before Giannis.
Pickle says that he's useless on the road. I mean, I'm still picking. By the way, guys, for the record, Boston's still favored to win this whole thing.
And imagine that they lose a coach, whoever everybody thought was one of the best.
But the system's still there, though. You know,
no, not the system, man. I'm gonna tell you what it is. That camaraderie,
the camaraderie,
what they got it going over there.
Culture.
And the fact that they lost last year and they want to be, in the mix, that has kept them together more than the coach and more than money right now, right? So, they're going to be.
That's a good point. Usually, when the culture's set, you can take a year off from a head coach. You see it football a lot. Remember when Dallas, when Bill Parcells left the Cowboys, Wade Phillips takes over. They go 13-3. Then the next year, they're not even in the playoffs because Wade Phillips' culture is in there. But I'm not sure if that's the case with Boston. But we'll find out next year. That's why they need to win it this year.
They need to win.
They need a ring. Boston still needs a ring this year, man.
If Boston don't win this year, 4 of those guys are out. Guaranteed. 4 of your starting.
Think?
Oh, yeah. Who's going to stay? Who's going to stay if you're not going to win?
Well, a lot of those guys are still under contract. That would be crazy talk if you did that.
I only know one.
Tatum is still under contract.
2 of them will be free agents, and the others are two unrestricted.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that. That's now you're talking crazy talk here.
Plus, you can leave anytime you want. Man. It's the NBA. They run.
Let's see what you're saying.
Contract or no contract, they'll just sit out.
Yeah. We'll see that's the issue. That is the issue. So it was a whole lot. So your opinion was it's too much crazy town with all this trade, essentially.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I mentioned it and people are like just kind of open their eyes to it. It's like, yeah, there is a lockout coming, and it's gonna be here probably before people, I don't know, maybe next season, man.
Yeah. Well, I think the playoffs will be better. I think this does give something to talk about, but you're right. There's a bigger issue here. And eventually, I said this about baseball, and baseball's starting to address this. The only thing baseball needs to do now is make more important games happen in July, okay? Have to have more important games happen in July. Baseball, they've got rid of shifting this year. They've got the time clock thing coming. Mm-hmm. What else did they do? They got the DH for the NL. So there's a lot of it takes baseball. You have to be pushed in the corner to make a move, and maybe this will happen with the NBA as well.
They contracted the minor leagues, so
yeah. Corey said the starting five's locked up. Yeah, I mean this guy is Mr. Boston. He knows like the whole bench. The history,
my man. Wasn't Durant and Kyrie? Weren't they locked up?
Durant and Kyrie.
Did one have like a 5-year?
Well, Kyrie was on a contract year, and Durant, he's super.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, man. I don't care what my contract says. I don't want to be here. And then they're like, we don't have nowhere to ship you. He's like, I'll just wait. And what happened?
Can't allow the NBA. And you see all these reporters, guy. You see all these columnists for the NFL, Mike Florio, just shoot me now, and saying, well, we should be like the NBA and have more guaranteed contracts in the NFL. Ooh. Why? Ooh. How'd that work out for Kirk Cousins?
My man, who was the last QB that got a payday? I don't even – how many times did he
technically Deshaun Watson's got a fully guaranteed contract.
Well, somebody had to pay for his lawyers.
Tripping out over that. So, okay, I've did some research. Let's switch gears to the Super Bowl.
You open up the old book.
Yeah. Switching gears here. Okay, I did come up. I've made some changes, guys. Made some little did a little research, a little bit, and just hear me out. First of all, Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP last night. Kudos.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Right.
Mahomes wins the MVP last night. So I start looking at the last time an MVP winner has won a Super Bowl, guys?
1929. Not just kidding.
Well, you're off by one. You're off. You got 1-9 there. You're missing there. 1999, Kurt Warner beat the Tennessee Titans. Beat my Titans here out of Nashville.
That's a 99.
23 years. 23 years, guys. Also, quarterbacks that don't make over 12.6% do not win Super Bowls. They get to check this out, Carlos, audience. This is an interesting.
It's a weird.
I gotta know one of my screenshots, guys. I gotta just kind of bear with me here because I got so many notes and stuff. You know, I love my notes.
And you need to put your Prezi presentation up next time.
Okay, here we go. Okay, Pickles, Corey. 2009, Peyton Manning, 18.8% of the salary cap. They lost that Super Bowl, Carlos, to the Saints.
The Saints.
Matt Ryan, 15.3. He would have broke the record. He blows a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl.
Wait, who won that? Who won that game?
The Patriots.
Who?
Matt Ryan.
Who?
Okay. Peyton Manning again. 2013, 14.16. The Seattle Seahawks totally blew them out in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady in 2018, 12.4. Actually, Brady wins these. Let's check this out. Brady has he's 12.61. That's the highest of any quarterback in league history to win a Super Bowl. Okay. Eli Manning, 11.71, wins in 2011, 11.13, wins in 2014, or Eli Manning, excuse me. And then you got Tom Brady again, 10.76 in 2011, 12.61. Where's Patrick Mahomes? He's at 15. He's over 15. That tells me those two things right there, with the game was very close like this, and it's hard to pick. Everybody I talked to said they're having problems with the Super Bowl. And I was one of those people, but I started looking at this stuff, and I'm thinking they've got what, 17 Pro Bowls or Pro Bowl alternates on that Philadelphia team. You think about this, Carlos. Think about the Tennessee Titans going to Kansas City with Malik Willis and a power running game and pushing them to overtime. Malik Willis is not Jalen Hurts.
He's not Patrick Mahomes either.
You see what I'm saying? So, I got to say, I think Philadelphia is going to win this Super Bowl. But I think in 34-30, that sounds high. I know the over and under is 50, by the way. What's your thoughts on the Super Bowl, man?
I think that and people keep saying that the game's not won on paper, it's won on the field. But there's something to be said about these guys, the character of these men on Philadelphia, who are a little bit more likable than the last roster that Philadelphia took.
They're not as cocky as the other one.
I think they're extremely cocky, but they're cocky in the sense that they're cocky on the field, but they put it down. They lay down the thunder, man. And they hit you with the big stick on the field. So whereas the last go around, it was more cerebral. It was more like gamemanship with the coaches, using their players and using schemes. This is more of a team that is going out there and putting it out on the field. So I think that's why Philly fans, football fans, want to see this team win. I was mentioning it to you on the show and in the morning show to Keith. I mean, this is a team for 5 to 7 games. They were like averaging 33 points a game, man. And I kept saying, even before the season started, if an NFL team wants to win, they got to be averaging 27 plus a game, and their defense has to score, close to 6.5, 7 points a game. Like their defense has to score. Like that's the main, that's the push to win the game. Your special teams, the kickers got to do all that stuff, but you got to put points on the board because that's what's going to win you games. And Philadelphia went and they use that, right? They use it to their advantage. They're skilled in all levels in the offensive line. They got decent running backs. They got good wide receivers. They got a good quarterback right now. He's playing good, making good decisions. Their defense, the same thing. Got a good D-line, great secondary, good linebackers,
You're
secondary.
talking about Philly?
Yeah. So Philly on paper is the best team, and they got pro bowlers on both sides of the field. They're well balanced. Where Kansas City is going to slack is that youth, inexperience secondary. Even though they have a couple players that have stepped up, are they going to give up big plays to Brown? Are they going to give up yards to Philadelphia's running game? So remember, Philadelphia will run you out of the house. So I got this the other way around. I got the Eagles 27 and the Chiefs 24.
Okay. Yeah, I could play a little devil's advocate. In other words, I'll make an argument for Kansas City. All right. Look at the Eagles' path there. The Eagles by the way, Kansas City beat them last year in the regular season, 42-30. Not this season, the 2021-2022 season. They went to Philadelphia and put 42 points on them. You also want to look at how many good quarterbacks have the Eagles beaten. Dak Prescott, I don't know.
Yeah, but they had to play whoever they played.
Who's on the schedule?
On the schedule, and they can't necessarily play another team that wasn't on the schedule.
Right. And Steve Spagnuolo, he was the coach of your Giants when they beat the Patriots. So look at Patrick Mahomes. Look at his injury versus the shoulder injury of Jalen Hurts. Mahomes was almost flawless with the high ankle sprain against that Cincinnati defense, who was playing physical against everybody. I mean, really, really playing physical against everybody. And he's had another 2 weeks. That's a 4 to 6 week injury.
Rob,
that's a 4 to 6 week injury, and he's had it for 3 weeks. He's going to be closer to 100%. Plus, let me tell you something about the Eagles. I'm playing devil's advocate here. 254 total yards, not passing yards, against San Francisco in that blowout win. Jalen Hurts, Carlos, hasn't thrown over 154 yards in both playoff games. Now, of course, they were running roughshod on those teams. They didn't have to throw that much. He missed their leading receiver had 36 yards in the 49ers. He was overshooting A.J. Brown a couple times. He overshot Devontae Smith. He threw some darts out there to Dallas Goedert. I think he had a couple touchdowns. They really slip in some really good deceptive running plays against the 49ers, who are number one against the run. So, but that being said, you're going to have to throw, like you said, you're going to have to score some points to beat Kansas City now. You can't mess around. You have to score in the red zone.
Right.
And they're very well coached. And they got a good front seven, Kansas City. It's decent.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Robert.
It's playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I know. And I told you all season long about the Kansas City Chiefs. It just takes someone like Andy Reid to make even as much as that he does well, he does just as bad sometimes. And you can't be pragmatic. You can't just be sitting there hanging on a 21-point lead, right? You got to keep scoring. And this is sometimes what happens. They get just this whole just become monotonous and just 3 and out. It's like, bro, come on, you're the Kansas City Chiefs. You guys will score it takes you 5 minutes, 2 minutes to score, a touchdown. They can score fast. They have with Mahomes. The problem is they don't score fast and enough, right? Yeah. And that to me it's been the problem from them even from last year. I was like, these Chiefs, they can win, but they don't break nobody's neck. They don't run. They're not running nobody out of the house, right? And guess who doesn't have that attitude and they don't even look back? The Eagles, right? Yeah. The Eagles. If they can score, they'll keep scoring on you. Even if it's field goals, they'll keep. But even like Kansas City can't decide whether they want to kick a field goal, whether they want to go ahead on 4-3 and give it to Kelsey. Come on, man, stop making things. You got the best offense sitting there, Andy Reid. Score 50 points and just shut everybody out.
And for the record, nobody's really injured. Mecole Hardman has been injured forever. He's not going to play, but Kadarius Toney is going to play. Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Travis Kelce, probably the best tight end in the game. He's an all-timer, man. I'm
I'm a spot Kansas City 3 touchdowns off the bat.
You think they're going to get 21 points?
I spot them that. They'll get that every single. They've averaged more a little bit.
They can score on anybody.
Yeah.
And for the record, they put 44 points on that Frisco defense that people's been bragging about.
Look, they can score points. I'm not saying they can't, but they don't do it.
I'm just playing a little devil's advocate. A little bit.
As somebody wants to watch football and you're just looking at a team like, bro, come on. It's almost like when the Chicago Bears, right, when they gave the ball to Frederick Perry to run the short line.
Yeah.
And not
85, 86.
Come on, man. You got Walter Pace in there. Just use him.
Yeah, Peyton really got bummed out about that.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. If the Kansas City goes in there and they don't score 24 points, they're gonna lose the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think they will. I think their offensive line.
Everybody thinks they can. That's the problem, Robert. Everybody thinks they can, but they don't do that stuff, man. They be hanging and lingering and letting teams.
Well, now last year they put 30. They put 30 on Kansas City. Now Kansas City scored 42. They scored 42 on Philadelphia in Philadelphia last year.
Was that a Super Bowl?
Well, it was in Philadelphia.
Was it a Super Bowl?
No.
Okay, and then it didn't matter. At that,
right.
It was just a game for Kansas City to go out there and see and flex.
Well, that's true. Now, to be fair, and I had Jamie Pags, the Philly. To be fair,
I heard him last night. He was crazy, bro.
He's funny. He is a funny mother bleeper, And let me say this. I wanted to make sure with Jamie, and he knows this, that they've added a lot of pieces to their defense. They meaning Philadelphia. Hassan Reddick, he's got 16 sacks this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury. What's that? Chauncey Gardner, something I can't remember his name. He's the safety. Pro Bowl leads the league, tied for the league in interceptions. Ndamukong Suh, he mentioned Ndamukong Suh. That's 4 players added on with the players that they've already had. Darius Slay, who's that other guy? Hargrave. They got Josh Sweat. They got pass rushers for days, man.
Yeah, they got depth.
That's the word, depth. They got a lot. They got depth, man.
Yeah, man.
Big time depth defensively.
Yeah, I mean, look. I want everybody on this Super Bowl. I think.
And I didn't mention on the offensive side, they got AJ Bleeping Brown.
They got look. This Super Bowl is going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be great.
It's fun to watch the commercials. No, I'm not just kidding. It was a mediocre football season. I'm sure that this Super Bowl is going to be good.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be like the Rams and. It's going
to be like a Thursday night football game.
You think it's going to? It's not going to be 10-7.
That's the one thing that's another thing, Rob. That just irks me. It's like, my man has got one of the best scoring offensive opportunities in all football year, and he's just been letting teams come back. Like if I was coaching, I'd Lombardi them, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'd Lombardi them and be like, step on their necks.
They do let teams come back. Remember, Jacksonville almost came back and beat them in the playoffs.
Lord. So you Chiefs fans, y'all better buy some extra booze, because we're gonna come out from a long game tomorrow, man.
And you know what? The weather's not going to be – it's going to be like 68 degrees clear in Arizona that night.
Yes, so how about this, Robert? Whoever plays the best in a dome and on artificial turf is going to be the winner of the Super Bowl.
Well, I'll give you this. Give you this. Both teams have won there this year. How about that? You didn't know that, did you?
No,
they won in that stadium.
That's why I said that. That's why I said what I said. I knew that.
Kansas City opened up against Arizona, and remember Philadelphia. You picked Arizona. I picked Philly. Philly went all the way to Arizona early in the season and beat them in Arizona.
Because I was like, this Arizona team needs to show that they got chops. They got to go in there and hit them up. They're at home.
Well, I thought you were going to win that week, but I was just up on Philly that week.
I just I had put Philly in the back burner. And then after week 5, I was like, they look
for real, don't they?
Yeah. After week 5, but the first 4 weeks, all the teams look like junk. I was like, oh, I was surprised. And It didn't really change too much because this mediocre season was okay. But I'm as a football fan, I'm glad to see these two made it out to be a Super Bowl contender.
If I'm Kansas City, I'm looking back at, and that, Jamie hates it when I bring this up, but I just bring up the facts. I run a power running game like Washington did on when Washington beat Philadelphia this year and use the middle of the field. They're a little bit weak in the middle. They're strong on the back end.
Yeah.
They got a mean pass rush. You use the middle of the field, use a power running game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire be back. Pacheco, what's his name?
Pacheco.
Pacheco, the running back. That guy's good between the tackles. McKinnon's more of a scat back, more of a guy gets a pass catcher. You want to use that power running game, and then when you get them relaxed, then you take a shot downfield. They wouldn't expect the game plan like that. Plus, your guy's not 100% with his ankle.
Yeah,
they got a really good offense, and you play field position,
bro,
with a Jalen Hurts. They're not going to do that.
But I'm just saying, the Chiefs, I'm like, look, Kelsey, Pacheco, Kadarius Toney, Slatton,
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Schuster, get them all up. Just run, man. Just run. Don't make.
Well, another strategy would be to keep Philly off the field because their offensive line they're road graders, man.
Bro, I don't know, man. If I'm gonna spot them 21 points, but if they don't score more than 24 points, they're not gonna win the Super Bowl.
Pickle says, "Yeah, look at the goodest coaches he is."
Whatever.
And then they get beat 31-7 by Philly.
Look,
Philly's just a real. Jamie said this is the best team he's seen. So did Sal Palantonio.
Yeah, I heard that last night. Yeah, I saw, and I'm to be honest with you, the eye test. Like I said, they are a little
on
bit
paper
more,
they do look like the best.
They're more
team.
stacked, right? They're stacked this year, better than the last Super Bowl winning team that they had. But again, you got to put it on the field on Sunday.
It means like this is why people were saying this back in 2008. It means nothing if the Patriots don't win and beat the Giants and go 19-0. But the Giants, they won that game, and that's just another season to me. That didn't mean nothing to me,
bro.
That didn't mean nothing to Tom Brady.
That's one thing that he never got to get back, bro.
That's the best Super Bowl I've ever seen, man.
That 15 years ago, my man. 15.
That was David and Goliath. Was that one of your favorites?
My man, my cousin was in my ear, a Jets fan, and he's like, "It's over, Carlos." And I'm like, no, it's never over until the belt, until the fat lady sings. It's not over.
Plus, it was close. What was he saying? It's over.
It's over. And you know what happens next? It's over, Carlos. I'm like, nah, it's not over. Eli Manning all of a sudden turns, makes a New York U-turn and just all over traffic, and you're just like,
oh, I love that. I could see that play over and over again.
Is he still standing? And then he just throws a ball, and I'm like, where is he throwing it to? And then all I see is a guy in his hand like this. Like, what?
And it looked like it was in slow motion when you watched it in real time.
Oh my gosh, bro. I was like, and then he goes and throws a touchdown after that. And I'm like, this is football, bro. But you want to see competition until the last whistle. That's what I miss about sometimes those Super Bowls that didn't have it, like when Tampa Bay played the Raiders, that was terrible. Remember
I love that? That was a great game because the Raiders beat the Titans that year, and I wanted Tampa to clean their clock.
Oh, they cleaned.
And I wanted to see Sapp get a Super Bowl ring in that Tampa organization.
That was a terrible game. And then when the Giants went in 0-0 that game with Kerry Collins, I was like, oh Lord, that was a terrible Super Bowl.
Oh, you mean the one with the Ravens?
Yeah. Oof.
Oh, that was horrible. They went in there way overconfident. There is a stat that teams that blow out their competition in the championship games lose the Super Bowl. So you can kind of say maybe that's Philadelphia could lose that. I think that's kind of a crazy stat, though. I don't think that has any merit.
Well, I don't.
I read a lot of history. I'll probably read too much into these histories.
Pickles, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that happened, and I give them credit.
That gives you something to hang your hat on if you're the Jets.
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson, man. I forgot about Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. Listen, I feel bad for Olave, and I'm not saying that Garrett Wilson didn't deserve it, but Olave, man, you good season, bro. You did your job. You didn't complain. You had like 3 or 4.
Oh, from the Saints,
You had
yeah.
3 or 4 quarterbacks throw you the
They
ball.
both went to college together
So
at Ohio State.
I think they should have shared that. To be honest with you, I think Olave did a lot. So Garrett Wilson too. He played with a lot of different quarterbacks and did his job. But Olave, man, had Olave not got injured, I think he would have won it.
Yeah,
he had
Olave had one of the fastest 40 times. I think it was like second in the combine that year.
Yeah, I think he missed 2 games. And I think that hurt him. But
yeah,
he was actually hurt.
Mahomes gets the MVP. I think Nick Bosa got defensive player. Nobody voted for Micah Parsons.
I don't know what's going on.
I tweeted out. I said, Dallas fans, that's what you wanted because he's going to be really gassed up next year playing under Dan Quinn. Their offense maybe take a step back, but their defense will probably be pretty tight next year.
They need a lot of work to do in Dallas.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my pick, man. I'm thinking Philadelphia. I know everybody watching, they really want to see Jamie humbled, but he's going to be cocky for another year, guys.
Oh, man. How are we going to shut that blowhorn off?
Yeah. He's already getting ready for the parade on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's loud before even the football even got put on the field. Man.
He says he walks around with aspirin to keep that headache away with all that screaming he does.
Screaming. It must be all that paint fumes getting to his head.
Breece Hall, that is true, Pickles. Breece Hall was really cutting it up before he got injured, man.
Yeah, but the problem with the Jets is the same problem that the reason why. Well, not one, but
do you want Derek Carr to be a Jet before I let you go?
No, I don't want Derek Carr nowhere near New York.
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers won't come to New York. Anybody can want him to be here, but he's not going to be in New
York. I can't remember her name. Terrell's or whatever. She's with the ESPN. She's baiting Mr. What's his name? Woodson or whatever, that the owner.
Oh, Charles Woodson. No, not Charles Woodson.
That's a player.
Woody Woodson.
Yeah. She's baiting him to say Aaron Rodgers' name. He can't do that. That's tampering. I don't know if he would be a good fit there. Maybe Derek Carr. Your head coach is probably going to be on the hot seat next year, man.
Yeah, they're all on the hot seat. I think at the end of the day, and I mentioned this, and I heard this too, that they could try to steal Daniel Jones away from the Giants. But if they do, that's
hey, you wouldn't even have to move. Same locker room and everything.
He just go across the other side of the stadium.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to see is another freaking Danny Dimes.
Well, hey, guys, stay in touch. Hey, man, appreciate you coming on, and I want to thank everybody else for coming on the program. I don't know if you got a chance to watch my shows this week, man. It's been killer this week.
Hey, Robert, good job.
Thank you.
Pags, congratulations. You're at the Super Bowl. I hope you guys win.
Another year of Pags.
Whoop, whoop, toot your own horn. But, it's you got to give credit's due, right?
So, hey, they're good. They're good. I'm hoping
good
some of that.
They're good on paper. Let's see if they can put it on the field.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you, Pickles. Lindsay. Thank you, Lindsay. Livia, Corey, everybody listen tonight. I'll see you all and hit me up, man, with text. Part of me hopes that Kansas City wins this game just to see what Pag's reaction would be,
Will he not paint his face ever again if that happens?
He's going to make some crazy excuse up and say, we'll be back next year. We'll be. And I'm thinking, yeah, you probably will. Because
I know that referee. I was drinking with him the other night. I knew he was going to mess up that call.
Man, he sound like Jamie.
Philadelphia's the best. Go Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we normally end the show with? Techno Geeks. We need some more Techno Geeks to help out if the Eagles lose.
Jeez.
See you, man.